Well, hello everybody and welcome to All Together Now, our maiden voyage. We are so delighted that you joined us here tonight. Okay, our next guest, are we ready? All right, are we ready? Hello, are we ready or not? Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Together Now. I'm Bobbie Steinbach, your host for the evening, coming to you from just outside of Boston. Welcome, Asanda.
Thank you, Bobbie.
It's
Thank
so
you for
good to
having
see
me.
you. Oh, my goodness. The wonders of technology, right? Welcome, Miranda. Maurice, welcome to All Together Now.
Hi, Bobbie. Glad to be here.
Jocelyn, welcome.
Thank you so much, Bobbie. I'm so happy to be here.
Kinan, welcome. It is so nice to have you here. Where are you coming to us from tonight, Kinan?
Thank you very much, Bobbie, for having me. It's great to be on this wonderful show.
Yes, you are. Where are you right now, Yo-Yo?
On the third floor in the office, and I'm so glad to see you, in spite of the fact that, we are seeing each other virtually, but this is like home. It's our new home.
Wonderful. It is. You're right. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have virtual homes right now, virtual connections, and that's what this is all about.
The power of music, we can be in two totally different places in the world, but we can come together and sing a song like this in times that we need it. So I hope you all enjoy it.
Griffin says that they are watching in the living room and the baby is screaming, "Not Daddy singing!"
Exactly. That's it. He's not supportive. But it's okay. We love it anyway.
Welcome, Claudio.
Hello, Bobbie. It's so good to be here. Thanks so much for the invite.
We originally created this show in response to the COVID-19 pandemic because we wanted a way to connect to each other in this time of plague. Tonight, we're focusing on another plague, one that's been with us for 400 years in this country, racism. Welcome, Reggie.
Thank you, Bobbie. Thank you for having me back. This is a very important show, and I appreciate you guys giving this a platform with which to be spoken about.
Welcome, Fabi.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Chanel.
Hi, Bobbie.
I just love that you're on the show with us tonight. And by the way, I'll be right there in my bathing suit after the show, so just expect me, and all I want is a little glass of wine. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, William Shakespeare. Happy birthday to you.
And
happy birthday, Shakespeare!
Wow. That made me cry a little bit. Thank you, my friends. Keep a song in your heart and hold a good thought. Well, hi everyone. That was a big surprise. I'm not going to cry. I'm just going to go cry, cry, cry. Thank you so much for that. And welcome to All Together Now. I'm your host, Bobbie Steinbach, and I am delighted that you have gathered with us for the last show of this iteration of All Together Now. And as we say goodbye, we wanted to look back at what we've shared and look forward to the future that seems to be changing as quickly as we start to understand it. We began the show thinking it was just a temporary way to bring people together for a 6-week quarantine. And here we are, 5 months later. As we turn to other projects, we wanted to end by focusing on a theme that has come up again and again in our conversations, both off screen and on screen. And that theme is hope. Throughout this series, we have been committed to creating a forum for new works. Tonight, we have a cross-country collaboration in video postcard form from two artists who met on our show, the writer Keziah Wilde and pipa player Wuman, contemplating the idea of hope and creating something new for you. And my guests, live and in person, will be the show's amazing producers, Sarah Stackhouse and Kristen Canterbury Bagnall, and our partner and brilliant technical director from Screens, Spencer Soleil. We're going to take you behind the scenes and talk about our experience of creating connection across distance, across artistic disciplines, across generations, and sometimes across technical difficulties. Carl Sandburg's Hope is a Tattered Flag, written to boy people living through another unprecedented time, the fallout from the Great Depression, seemed fitting tonight. I'd like to share that with you. Hope is a tattered flag and a dream of time. Hope is a heart-spun word, the rainbow, the shadblow in white. The evening star inviolable over the coal mines, the shimmer of northern lights across a bitter winter night. The blue hills beyond the smoke of the steelworks. The birds who go on singing to their mates in peace. War, peace. The 10-cent crocus bulb blooming in a used car sales room. The horseshoe over the door, the luck piece in the pocket, the kiss, and the comforting laugh and resolve. Hope is an echo. Hope ties itself yonder, the spring grass showing itself where least expected. The rolling fluff of white clouds on a changeable sky, the broadcast of strings from Japan, bells from Moscow, or the voice of the Prime Minister of Sweden, carried across the sea in behalf of a world family of nations. And children singing chorales of the Christ child, and Bach being broadcast from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And tall skyscrapers, practically empty of tenants, and the hands of strong men groping for handholds, and the Salvation Army singing, God loves us. Continuing on our theme of hope, we are delighted to have a video for you from Keziah Wilde and Wuman. Keziah starting Middlebury College this week. And when she's not writing poetry, she loves to play ultimate frisbee. Wuman is recognized the world over as a premier player of the pipa, the Chinese lute. The pipa is over 2,000 years old, and with her adventurous spirit and virtuosity, Wuman has created a new role for the instrument in both traditional and contemporary music. Keziah and Wuman worked in a call and response form. Keziah wrote a new piece starting from the phrase, hope is, and Wuman responded musically to Keziah's poetry. Let's roll those video postcards, please.
If I were cut in half through the middle of my body, you would not find 18 rings. My flesh would not splinter and crack. I cannot withstand the strike of an axe without bleeding, and when my torso toppled to the ground, you could not look down at the bloody stump of my body and see my years laid out in dark, even loops. My life is not nearly so neatly stacked, but it does rest inside my body. Every day for the past 8 years, I have run at least 1 mile. Wherever I am, no matter what has filled my day or how high my day has been filled, 10 minutes, at least just 10 minutes, are dedicated to running. And some days I feel more myself in those 10 minutes than any other moment of the day. In those 10 minutes, every day of the past 8 years burns through my quads, drips into my calves, presses into the pavement. My footprints are stacked a mile high on the sidewalk, worn sneakers pile tired in the closet. It is sometimes so hard to identify myself, to understand my own name in any single moment, but when I run, I can feel every piece of myself, every emotion I've carried across my mile, every hairstyle and article of clothing. I am built up, filled out, whole. Hope is the understanding that I am not just who I am in this mile, on this stretch of concrete, but who I've been in every mile combined. Hope is the assurance that I am still here, that my feet are still on the ground. Hope is the days stacked like sediments in my legs, layered like sandstone, the memories eroded and turned glossy with time. Hope is the certainty of my sneakers. Hope is the chafing between my thighs, chasing my shadow under street lamps, watching my dark silhouette stretch out and then contract again, around and around. Hope is the curve of my tongue as I whisper, just another mile, Keziah, for the 1,000th time. And sometimes when I say it, I pretend my spit is slipping across 1,000 days and nights at once. Today, I dipped my fingers in a cup of water and drew my signature across my stomach, watched shivers drip down my ribs with every letter as my name and my body were momentarily held together. And as the water evaporated off my skin, I could feel my hope in cold, looping cursive.
That was beautiful. So beautiful. And the young Keziah just starting out on her journey. Woman already known around the world. Incredible collaboration. Thank you, you two. I hope you enjoyed that, folks. Well, something very special. Our next guests are, and they are going to be live and on screen with me, are the incredibly smart and creative producers of All Together Now, Sarah Stackhouse and Kristen Canterbury Bagnall of BroadBand, and the show's brilliant technical director, Spencer Soleil from Screens. Sarah, who has been my dear friend for a long time now, is a consultant to nonprofits and avid arts advocate, and she works with theaters, artists, and communities to produce creative projects. And I've had the pleasure of working with Sarah on many, many wonderful projects. Kristen, my dear new friend for these past 5 months, is a producer whose credits include film, live stage productions, and 2 Grammy-winning albums. There goes I have pebbles in my mouth again. Grammy-winning albums. There it is. And my other dear new pal, Spencer, who works at Screens, our partner in All Together Now, involves he does business development, and he is helping architect the future of video distribution. I don't know what I'm saying, around the globe. He's also a bass player, and that's very important. Here we go. Okay, everyone, come on down. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Bobbie.
Hi, Bobbie.
Hi, Bobbie.
Hey, it's so wonderful to see you here on the screen. Oh, it's wonderful. Sarah and Kristen are coming to us from Arlington, Massachusetts, and Spencer is in sunny San Diego, California. So, questions for you, Sarah and Kristen. When you created All Together Now, what were you hoping it would be?
So we were hoping that it would be a place for artists and audiences to connect, as you've mentioned many times over the last 26 shows. We're particularly interested in the shared experience element that I felt as I watched solo performances on Facebook Live. Part of my experience was kind of a reinforcement of the isolation. And I wanted to figure out if there was a way that even if we couldn't all be in a room together, we could have the transformative element when someone creates something and someone else experiences it with them. And I was talking to Sarah about it, and Sarah said, I know someone who'd be a really good host for that. And I was talking to Will Brierley about it, and he said, I know a technology company called Screens that might have the tech to make that happen. And so that was the beginning of the idea and the beginning of the connections that made it happen. And I should say that Will is from Snowrunner Productions. That's his company. And he has been producing the show with us.
Yeah, it's been an amazing team, actually. And it's interesting because of those first couple of weeks of the pandemic, everyone was just sitting at home. And it was a very interesting moment there was very little content coming out. And what was coming out, as Kristen said, was a lot of people live streaming from their living room directly, but not connecting necessarily with an audience member or another person or a host or another artist. And Kristen and Lori Taylor, who's our colleague at BroadBand, which is our little company. Kristen, Lori, and I have a company called BroadBand. And we were actually just about to launch our company. And our company was about creating possibilities and expanding opportunities for artists and organizations. And then we suddenly were in this pandemic where nobody knew what the possibilities were. And we were all kind of unsure what was going to happen. And so this project was really our launch of BroadBand in an attempt to to expand possibilities for artists and audiences. And we wanted to do it in a way that felt like what happens when you're around a campfire, you know, when you're all sitting and you share stories and you share songs, or a living room where there's kind of an intimacy and an exchange. And so all of those things kind of went into a conversation, turned into All Together Now.
Great. Yes, it certainly turned into something to me that just gave me so much life, I guess, during this time of uncertainty and difficulty. Spencer, can you share a little bit about screens with our audience and why this idea appealed to you and your colleagues? I am interested that people who are thinking about what artists and audiences need, and people who are thinking about the future of video distribution and delivery, found common ground.
Yeah, absolutely. So much like Sarah and Kristen, we were really about to bring our product set to the public, brand new platform to the public at the beginning of COVID. And it was a little bit of a setback that we weren't able to continue down that road. I was actually in Manhattan right when things started to get locked down, and I was there with my colleagues Mark and Lynn, and who are the co-founders of the company, and we were really starting to hit the ground running, and the brakes were immediately put on. And so to give you a little perspective about what Screens is we have this idea that people should be able to create a very personalized experience when it comes to consuming video. And that personalized experience should be able to be manipulated. It should be able to be delivered to them in extremely low latency, or really quickly. And as we developed that platform, we realized that it really works for such a broad range of people. So when Will Brierley, as Kristen mentioned, approached us and says, "Hey, you know, I've got this great group. They're thinking about putting this show together. Maybe it'd be a good fit for you guys." First off, Screens is a Boston-based company, so we were excited about supporting Boston-based arts and being able to bring something out during COVID that really, you know, is more than just a business proposition. It's really something that reaches into people's living rooms and touches them. And then on top of that, it was really the first opportunity that we had to get people onto our platform, using the platform, really help us kind of put it through its paces and you know, brainstorm with us about things that they thought could work better one way or another. And you know, of course, were extremely patient with us as we brought this thing to life.
It's been a ride, Spencer. It's been a ride.
Yeah, yes, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I need to have a drink. Excuse me. Okay. All righty then. Thank you, Spencer. That's very exciting to hear that. We have learned so much through this time. And a question I have is, what's most surprised you about making the show? Sarah, why don't you tackle this one first?
I mean, there have been a lot of surprises. One of the things that I think has made it challenging but really meaningful for everyone is the learning curve of it, right? There was so much to learn. So there were a lot of surprises. But I think for me, one of them that I didn't expect was I really thought that the artists meeting each other and sharing their artwork was going to work. And I thought that audiences would like it. I was surprised by the backstage experience that this provided for artists and how that changed this for them, and how many of them said, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I was just backstage with people and I played a concert and then we wrapped, you know, we talked about it afterwards. And I didn't think I was going to get to have that experience during the pandemic." And so I think there was some things that happened, not just in creating the stage for the audience, but in creating actually the whole virtual concert hall where we could meet in the green room and talk backstage and talk with the crew. And that's a huge part of the lifeblood of the work of artists. And people who work on the tech side too. And so I was surprised how much that fed a need for us and how many connections have come out of it, I'd say.
And the experience of being backstage together, this is a very silly group of people. And it was always just delightful, just delightful. Just made me so happy. That filled my heart. You know what? For me, what was really great, special, everything was special, but the experience of working with old friends like Jimmy Tingle, who just makes us laugh, talk about laughter so hard, and is so intelligent in his humor about politics and people, and new friends like the jazz guitarist, composer, teacher Claudio Ragazzi. I felt like Claudio and I had known each other for 100 years after about 2 seconds. It was just that connection, and that connection happened a lot, and that surprised me because we're on screens. We're not face to face in real a room together, but it still felt like we were intimately connected, and that was very special. And Kristen, as we morphed through the course of the show, lots of changes. What surprised you?
Well, I think two things. One, as of tonight, the show has reached almost 30,000 people. That's really surprising to me. Like, yeah, every time I think about that, I kind of stop. And the other, many of our guests were educators in addition to their primary practice. And that, I think that was really striking in how much people had thought about not only their art and their craft, but also how to communicate it effectively to an audience. And I think that combination of that level of thoughtfulness and Bobbie, your level of listening, I felt like that was a significant through line that we didn't highlight as much as some other elements, but was very present.
Yeah. And being in people's homes and having them just be so open about what they were going through, what they were feeling, what they were thinking, and sharing their process. I thought that was really fun too. Spencer, were you surprised by anything at all?
I was surprised by a few things, Bobbie. First and foremost, of course, is your radiant beauty and incredible presence. I think you may have taken up the entire internet when this show first came to air.
We talk about that regularly. I mean, just to say that's a huge part of the backstage conversation.
Yeah, Bobbie's radiant beauty was a major factor. Yeah,
absolutely. We wouldn't be here otherwise. But I think in addition to that, there was a couple things that were really quite remarkable to me and quite surprising. The first was, of course, we're all doing this for the first time. We're figuring out how to create art and create an expression on the internet, and we're doing it in an environment that's really charged. Whether it's charged because people have been stuck at home for so long and they're agitated and yelling at each other about wearing masks or not, whether it's at the time of Black Lives Matter, and yet every time we got into this environment, every time we created one of these episodes, everybody had the most incredible amount of patience and thoughtfulness and willingness to put so much time and effort into creating this and crafting something that was really special. So that was sort of the first thing. The second thing that was really surprising to me was, really how this whole experience touched me personally. I wasn't quite prepared for being so involved and being such a part of a team that kind of reached back to something that was, in my mind, ancient history of my life, where performance and playing music was a big piece of it. And I haven't done that in a long, long time. And so being a part of something that was so creative and so special and had such amazing guests and of course amazing hosts and production people, really, really touched me in a way that I wasn't prepared for. I found that quite surprising.
Oh, thank you for that. And we'll have to have you on some iteration of something, playing your bass guitar, and we can be a duo. We
Yeah,
can
there you
actually be we can all sing together, all together now. Sarah, what are your words of wisdom on the development and documentation of the pandemic, which you mentioned in rehearsal?
Yeah, and I'm just thinking too, something Spencer said about how patient everybody was and how generous the artists were. I mean, so part of this is we thought this was going to, at the beginning, be bringing a few artists together across difference. So across geography, race, age, artistic discipline, format, to share and create connection. And we did do that. But if you watch the early shows, they're mostly performance. And what started to happen was that, Bobbie, as you grew as a host and as we lived into this time of pandemics, we started to create a lot more context around what we were sharing. And the artists brought forth what context they were in. And so we have this incredible arc of documentation of what it's been like to live through a crisis in isolation from all these different voices across the world. And that, from very personal perspectives, but really spanning a really broad set of experiences. And you can see the sequence of what happened. So early on, it was like, oh my gosh, so many tech issues and it's so great to just connect, And then as things started to unfold, it was like, well, what are people doing as artists in this time? Like, what kind of art are they creating? And so we started to see how people were adapting. And then the Black Lives Matter movement really rose up, and we were able to do a show in response to that and have many artists speak about that context. And also a lot of the COVID health crisis pieces came into view. So Liz Linder, who is a photographer who did the piece about her whole community and how they were responding through photographs, or Bettina Swigger about all the businesses in California that she works with. I think those pieces of perspective, and the last one I'll mention is Lisa Wong, Dr. Lisa Wong, who came and shared with us what was happening with people recovering from COVID in rehab through music. And so I think historically, it's going to be a really interesting thing for us to look back on and see how we were living through this. And I feel really grateful for that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I feel really grateful for that too. So for the last question, just really, really briefly, I'll start with you, Spencer. Any specific moment that pops out at you?
Well, Kristen and Sarah are really great at getting into the details of things. So my moment is probably a little bit broader in the sense that I think I will always have in the front of my mind, every time I got into the backstage area with everyone, no matter what was going on in my life, and certainly like pretty much everyone, there's been a lot going on during this pandemic, and whether it's concern about family members and things like that, there's always been something on my mind or something pressing, and just the unwavering support and caring and thoughtfulness of everyone here is just been remarkable to me, and something that will just constantly stand out, that show after show, whether week after week, every time I came in here, it was just a feeling of love and support, and that extended right through the show to the guests and hopefully out to the audience. It was amazing.
Thank you, Spencer. There was such a lot of love, yes. And Kristen.
I'm going to go with the first show with Livingston Taylor and Wu Tong's video postcard from Beijing. And Wu Tong and I were in conversation for like a week beforehand. I don't speak Chinese. I'm trying to translate the idea of streaming during a pandemic, which is being experienced very differently in the US than it was in China. And I'm basically trying to communicate talk show. And so all of our back and forth conversations about and he was bringing such generous earnestness to creating whatever I was asking him to create. But there was definitely an element of lost in translation to the whole conversation. And what he sent was amazing. And the way that it intersected with Livingston Taylor and the generosity and presence of both of them in such different ways from such different points of view. And after it was all, Wu Tong, the last thing he said to me when he sent me the video was, let me know when it aired. Like, I'd love to see it. I don't know, and we're doing all this across firewalls. We're doing all this across, like, can you get video content out of China? Okay. So I send him the link and he calls me the next day, FaceTimes me, and he says, that's a real thing. That for me, as much as doing the first show was lovely, that moment of having my friend call me from Beijing and say, that's a real thing.
That's a real thing. This is a real thing. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Kristen. That's a great story. And Miss Sarah, just a moment.
Yeah, I've just been thinking about it while you're talking. I think what's memorable to me is I was in charge of monitoring the audience comments. And for a while we did the show live and then sometimes we taped it, but there was always chatter. And there was something for me that was really amazing about watching people enter and make comments and synthesize what they just saw or share where they were watching from. I think for me, the highlight was looking at all those different people and seeing them be part of it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I have to say, it was all amazing. But today, this moment with you, the team, this collaboration is my favorite moment. Very special to me. And I thank you so much.
Thank you, Bobbie.
So it's been wonderful having you and sharing the screen with you finally, as well as backstage. And you folks out there, maybe sometime we'll send some of these censored outtakes from backstage. Anyway.
No.
Never mind. But anyway, I just want to say to you all, thank you. And I truly love you. And I know the audience is so appreciative, and the artists of what you brought to them. And we will all be looking for more from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobbie.
Thank you, Bobbie.
Thank you, Bobbie.
Thanks, everyone.
So lovely, a group of people. Wow. That was really fun. I mean, I had been wanting to do that for a very long time. And we heard from those folks, our producers and our tech director, and we'd love to hear from you out there who have been watching the show. We have a short survey in the comments, mostly multiple choice questions. It would really be valuable to us. It would help us so much to know what you thought about the show, about the content, etc. And there is a space for you to write something as well as we. And we'll look at it as we move forward. And oh, by the way, if you have been thinking of making a tax-deductible gift to support the artists who appeared on the show, donating their time, You can do that now. You could click on the link in the comments. On Facebook, it's See More, and on YouTube, it's Show More. Finally, we have one last element for you tonight. It's a look back with a spoken word piece that I wrote and a video montage, gorgeous video montage created by our very special production assistant, Justin LaHue. Spencer, one last time, let's roll that video.
Little did we know how it would go on a small screen, a virtual scene. Well, sometimes slow, sometimes glowingly, but every time something sublime to the ears and the eyes, surprises, some tears and some gaffs of big belly laughs. Bewitching photographs from Liz Linder and Rich, the amazing poetry of Kaylee B. I wanna be a rhino. So fine, oh. Paula Plum and Richard Snee on Critics. Hysterically funny. They give May and Nichols a run for their money. Livingston T, his Rainbow Connection, a tasty confection. Brandon G's powerful, moving Black Odyssey, brought to us by Maurice P. and his company Front Porch Arts Collective, giving us a new perspective. Shakespeare & Co.'s Alan Burroughs and Friends with selections from the canon. In a yard, in an attic, who says Shakespeare is static? Chanel's spoken verse, oh, it flowed, showed us a way to forgive, to live. Yo-Yo in a storm, his warm and caring heart gave us Appalachia waltz to comfort and bring us together from so far apart. Yo-Yo's friend Joe's delightful bagel dough danced to his mixer and elixir. And so many songs. Invisible threads from a closet with Griffin and Matt, and more than that, from Miss Lovely Hoffman, a smash with her cash for your trash. And Miss Kathleen Parks with Twisted Pine. Oh, they are so divine. Chloe and Mary B's gorgeous Lean on Me. Delon G, deliciously from NYC. The Winsome Hubbard twins, musically grand. Kristen from Broadway, and that has a band. Kemp Harris and his soul bowled us over. Maz Swift gave us her gift. Bree Black uplifted us with her pandemic-inspired Not Alone, her new spin hip-hop violin. Lauren Molina from Clubs to the Great White Way made our day, played uke and gave us happiness. Made us smile for a while with her extraordinary style. Squirrel Butter Band had us tapping our feet. Neat Appalachian dances and tunes. Lost them for a minute. Their dog got in it and pulled out their router on their computer. Yeah, I know, it's router. They came back, got on track. They were crackerjack. Dancer Ali R. and actor Annie G. made us a world premiere. The season of Miss Annabelle Rees, a dialogue for one dancer in spring. Oh, it was something. The first commission for an ATN special edition to our mission to connect, reflect, interject some hope and some joy, buoy us up. Dear Dr. Lisa Wong's Boston Hope shows with music to heal, real caring and sharing. Yep, she's a real deal. Poet, musician, and scholar, Mr. Reggie G. gathered us together to weather the storm, to be strong for our brothers and sisters, for Black Lives Matter to us. Opened our eyes, inspired us to empathize with the disenfranchised, revitalized the fight for what's right. Shakespeare, 3 ways on his birthday. Kenan Asmay's Ode to a Cherry Tree. Brooke Hardman on the Vineyard, winningly playing King Henry V. Bill Barclay live from England, a one-man bardic band. First, rate stories, to captivate, fascinate, celebrate, resonate. Bill sees notes from the bunker, filling his shopping cart, cooking from his heart. Bill H. spun the tale of the happy bad shirt, how an unhappy king discovers his mirth. And Preeti V's Krishna and his flute, an absolute treat, telling stories with her hands and her eyes and her feet. Artist, young and starting out, old hands and friends, new faces from myriad places, Wu-Tang and Beijing playing the sheng, something unique for us all, enthralling. Our friends from Cape Town, Artwork South Africa's Asanda Coupe, forging a pathway for young artists in townships to play, to sing, to bring it. Like Tulani Mark's stunning chords on the keyboard from Joburg SA. Man, he blew us away. Folks on West and East Coast, places in between. Fabiola from Puerto Rico played cuatro and sang dang, how I moved in my seat to her beat. Kavork and Karen, their groom lament, a heaven-sent collaboration, a celebration of a reborn nation. Elijah's and Jenny's living in exile scenes, acting together on distant screens. Funky internet? Puh, no sweat, they found a way on that midsummer's day. Keziah Wilde, what a phenom. Her piece on bravery, so very strong. An inspiring young artist, first rate, rising, desiring to relate, activate. Woman brought a pipa. Her 4-string plucked lute with twisted silk strings brought us the haunting white snow and sunny spring. Miranda Ashling kindly gave us a tour of her house that is tidy, her beautiful paintings and more. Arthur Bloom's Wounded Warrior Band's gorgeous rendition of Wide River to Cross lifted us up with their grace and their chops. Brian Shackman brought a new perspective to ATN, speaking from his experience as a bringer of news on TV and how this tough time has colored his views. Jossie Adams asked, am I a dreamer of dreams? Can we get back on track to save the planet, to advocate, make it safe? Guy Mendelo spun a whale of a tale about people and countries that prevail against odds, conjured voices from the forgotten kingdoms together apart with Zinnia Simonova and her stunning sand art, a collaboration to heal our nations. So many artists who gave of their time, brought us into their homes and their spaces so graciously, talked about process, blessed us with their creativity, their positivity, who took part generously, shared their love and art. We thank each and every one of you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to those who watched.
Those wonderful artists, those very special folks who shared their artistry all together now. Thank you again to all of you. But truly, you out there who watch, who listen, who support, truly, we couldn't have done this without you, our audience members from near and far, our friends and strangers who became our friends. We'll see you all somewhere down the road. Until then, keep a song in your heart and hold a good thought. Good night.
I've heard them too many times to ignore them. It's something I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers the dreamers and me. The lovers, the dreamers and me.